One of the most common questions that I get as a trainer is, how do I help my horse become less barn sour or less buddy sour? And this is a really common problem with our horses. Most of our domestic horses are kept in smaller groups, and pair bonding is extremely common, where a horse gets tightly attached to one other horse. Sometimes even horses in larger groups will have the same thing happen. They'll get really attached to one other horse in that group. And it does vary in which horse becomes more stressed. So some horses are fine to leave, but if they're the one that's left behind, they're super stressed. Or it can be the opposite. They're kind of okay if they're behind and maybe they've got another herd mate, but if they're asked to go away, then they get super stressed. So how do we work through this problem? The first thing to think about is how can you best set up the environment for either horse, whichever case you're in, whether it's the horse that's left behind that's getting worried or it's the one that's leaving. How can you set up the environment to be the most safe? This is applicable for the horse that's staying back, and perhaps it's better to put them in a smaller area or put them in a stall if they are running around madly and they're more likely to injure themselves. Set them up so that they can be safe. The same can be for the horse that's going away. Make sure that you've got the skill to handle the horse that's going away. If they start to get more escalated, are you able to keep them safe and to keep yourself safe? If not, you might want to work in an area that's closer where maybe they're less stressed, or it might even be time to call someone in to help you work through this problem. So what do we actually do to start to solve this? I see the solution to buddy sour and barn sour behavior as really two parts. The first is a process of helping the horse become more connected to you, but also to become more socially comfortable in that they can be okay, whether they're with someone and they're connected or even when they're further apart. That they learn to be comfortable even if they don't necessarily have their buddy or even have you right there. So this can be a bit of a process. It's working on doing different bonding exercises with the horse. It's working on helping them see you as a companion and as comfort, especially for the ones that struggle when they're going out. You want to also be able to work that you can start to keep this feeling of connection with your horse, not only when you're really close, but also at a little more distance. This is where doing exercises like liberty work can be really beneficial. Now, the other piece of it is increasing the exposure to being apart. So this might mean that you have one horse that is in a safe location, whether they're comfortable out in the field or whether they're the one that's getting worried and maybe you have them in a stall. And then with the other horse, you go away for gradually increasing distance as well as time away. So this might mean that you start by just having the one horse confined where they're safe, and the other horse is walking up and down the barn aisle or maybe leaving the barn aisle, going for a short walk and coming back. You want to find the threshold for either horse where it does challenge and they have to learn to work through that separation, but at the same time you're not going so far away that they get super, super stressed. So you're looking to gradually increase. Can you go further away, and then can you stay away for longer but still come back? The more often you can do this, the better. To be really frank, only working on this once a week or once every other week, you might not see a lot of progress very quickly. But if you can start to make this a really regular thing, that the horses get separated, they have to be apart for a bit, and then they're able to come back together, they can start to habituate to that and get more comfortable with it. The final thing you can think about is sometimes we just have to change the management strategy. And this might mean that it's honestly, in the long run, better for the horses if you're able to find different herd mates for them where they don't get as closely attached, where you're able to find a different type of situation where maybe they're in a larger herd. And sometimes those types of management strategies, even with different horse genders, sometimes there'll be a gelding and a mare that get really attached, but if that gelding's with other geldings, he doesn't get as tightly bonded. We never know the full effects of changing our horses' social environments, but sometimes doing just the management piece of changing up how they're kept can be the easiest solution for both the person and perhaps for the horse as well. So now I'd love to hear from you. Have you ever struggled with a barn or a Buddy Sour horse? And what was the strategy that you used? Was it something that you ended up just moving them and managing it? Did you use a certain training system, a way of gradually increasing that exposure to improve? What made the difference for you? Put a comment down below, and I look forward to reading your comments. Thanks for watching.